But he's on the ice.
So you're gonna ask me about him?
I'm going to ask you now
Yeah.
because he was on the ice taking some
Yep.
shots. So, yeah. So you said you get kind of
He's
excited
getting
about
closer.
that.
Yeah, he's getting closer. Obviously, the workload goes up. He was also on the ice about an hour before, so not an hour, probably 45 minutes before. Workload's going up, so that's probably see a lot more of that than wasn't quite a full practice where there was no real contact situations, him getting run into or anything like that. So that's kind of why he stayed the duration.
As far as you know, the timeline hasn't been altered from what the original was, 4 to 6 weeks. That's still in play for.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Like, it's just, you know what? He's feeling really good. Two things: what happens after a big day like today, how he feels when he wakes up in the morning, and then the other side is conditioning. So those are the two biggest things for him.
For last night, speaking of conditioning, that fits in perfectly. There were some insane shift lengths, as you all know. The other game was 1 point there, I think, between the 6th and 14th minute. Josh played about 6 of 7.5 minutes. How little or how much would that impact on what you would lean on for those guys tomorrow night further on at home?
Well, it's part of the reason why they didn't skate today too. The heavy minute guys. But at the end of the day, that game last night, as we got back into it, closer and closer, we were obviously, you don't want to do something like that, but that was a game that we really wanted bad, and that's why Scheif's line was going over in a lot of situations as well. And it's not something you can do for 82 games, and as much as some of those players would like to. But this schedule too, in the sense of, now we're going every other day type thing, and it certainly helps it a little bit. So kind of at that moment, that was why we were doing it, especially in the third, really pushing those guys heavy.
Just one more for me, and that is, I know you've been reluctant to break up the line, break up the duo, that sort of thing. And we've seen it in bits and pieces, but if people aren't going early in a game, will you start to maybe double shift those guys on different lines to maximize their usage throughout the game?
There was a lot of different combinations that went out last night.
Yeah.
I was trying to get that, making sure that Gabe was going out just as much as he would maybe if he wasn't with Scheif and them. And I had Scheif go out with a couple times with some other line mates. And that's why the minutes got them up. If you look at them, that's why the minutes are up there. And that's kind of how I have to go. Like, for me to split all three of those guys up, I don't think it's going to be beneficial. I think that there still has, I think that every now and then there's situations where we're coming off a timeout and, might be a situation where Casey jumps in with somebody or Scheif jumps in, or like I said, Gabe saw a couple of different lines. So kind of using them that way. I like the way Al played. It's one of Al's best games of the year. It was nice to see him that week had some other sort of chemistry going. So just going to keep trying to play along like that, see how the game, now that I have last change for these next couple, allows me to do some of those things.
Scott, Perfetti has had his own struggles to start this season, and even him just saying now that he's really trying to keep that positive energy going. What have some of the conversations been like between you and him, and just some of the messages?
Yeah, first and foremost that, like staying positive, staying upbeat. He's been through this before, and hopefully you learn from your lessons in the past. For him, it's I always talk about when you don't have the puck, what are you doing to get yourself, one, into position to maybe recover it, or two, getting yourself open to get a play from one of your teammates, being closer to the net, whatever it might be, different things like that. But also making sure that you're doing the right things defensively and making sure that you're playing in the opposite end of the rink, not down in our end of the rink. And so I know that's a line combination. It's also 5 guys on the ice, but he has something that he can add every shift. And it's really find a way. Just find a way in practice. Do it in practice. Work on it in practice. Be repetitious about it, and hopefully that carries over in the game. And really, the next thing for him is he's going to have to get rewarded here sooner or later. There's not much more. We've talked. We've showed video. We've had our one-on-ones. His teammates are, pumping him up, and it's just a case of him just finding it, and hopefully he can get on a run with it.
How can he speed up his game? Obviously, the nature of the injury makes it tough to get back to full speed, but is there some things in the
Well, I'm hoping that this schedule helps it, because he kind of landed in when we were on this craziness of the 3 and 4s and the 4 and 6 and everything that the whole league's going through. But I think that there was no time for him to really work on anything, or whether it was his conditioning or his in practice, those type of things. So He's had a few days here where he's been able to do stuff. I think it was better. There was some good shifts last night that he can build off of. I thought that he did a good job on a few reloads where he was the F3 that got up above and allowed our D to pinch. You know, those type of things are effort and work situations, and that's the stuff that helps him kind of build a shift into the next shift.
Bigger picture, yesterday the forecheck was more effective than
Huge.
How do you model that?
Yeah, huge. And more consistent through each line. And that was the big thing for me, is that one of our strengths is when we're a forechecking team, we hem people in. And last night, the zone time, we almost doubled Dallas's zone time, 5-on-5. And that was our highest probably number for the season, being in and against a really good team. And so it's something to build off. But, again, it has to happen again tomorrow. It can't be this up, down. It has to be exactly that. If we can put that much pressure on Dallas, we can put that much pressure on Boston, we can put that much pressure on Washington, and so on. So it has to be a constant. And I think that, you know, we had some video this morning showing those type of things. And it starts on our end. It starts, how do we get out of our end? Do we fend quick? Our breakouts, are we clean? Are we making the next play? And the next play is that a carry, an entry with possession? Is that a chip to forecheck? And last night Dallas made us chip and forecheck a little bit more, but we did a fantastic job on our recoveries.
Yesterday in practice, I think, or at the morning skate, pardon me, Cole scored a goal on the power play 2 unit, and Nino went right over to him and gave him a punch.
You might have heard our whole team cheering on that one there. So
Yeah.
guys are behind him, and that's the one thing. Guys are recognize that he's struggling, or not struggling, the puck won't go in the net for him. And at the end of the day, guys they want to see him succeed, and they know that he's important for us. When he starts to score, it helps to relieve some of the pressure from that other line specifically. But at the end of the day, guys are happy to see that. And, you know, like I mentioned, if you do it in practice, you start to feel good there, then it kind of can carry itself over.
I was going to ask you what's so great about Nino, but you're saying the whole team kind of rallied.
Yeah, I mean, Nino was the closest, but everybody was excited for it. So he got another one this morning in the 3-on-2 low, and there was a big cheer again. So, because he has a smile on his face when it happens.
Scott, a lot of talk about the Olympics with Bettman and Daly here. As a coach, you know, some of the talk is about what the ice condition might be there. So, as a coach, do you have any concerns about the potential of your players getting injured in a competition like that?
Single biggest thing I worry about, you know, Four Nations last year, especially when your goaltenders go in there. When your top players that we have are going there, you're always worried. I think every coach is worried. And, to hear that, you know, last year obviously it was Boston, Montreal, so it's, you know, NHL buildings. To hear that there might be some issues, it's not something that makes you real warm and fuzzy. So just hoping that they get everything, you know, up to standards, up to NHL standards when they get there.
So do coaches get any updates from whether it's, you know, board?
When it was what?
Do coaches get any updates about that at all?
No. This would be the league and the PA. That's all them. We kind of get what we hear from you guys, or I might hear through Chevy, but there isn't a lot going on. It's really kind of waiting to see, as it seems to be. They're in hurry up offense there, trying to get that rink done and getting that ice done. So until somebody gets skating on it, I would hope that there's people on the ice before the players get on it, and that'll kind of break it in, and they get the sort of the kinks out of it. So, but on the update side, we're just kind of like everybody else, kind of waiting and see what happens.
So when you sent the player down, like you said to Elias yesterday,
Yeah.
I just finished talking about that in his practice, and he was excited about everything that he learned up with the Jets, and he had a positive attitude, because it can be a little negative when you get assigned. What are the benefits to him going down to those, of course, and playing on a winning team there with them, but also from what he was able to gain with your group that you can maybe use later?
Yeah, I think that, like we talked about with Lambert and Parker, with Chibi, like those guys being able to get up here early in the year is a benefit for Sal to get up here. And, you know, I mean, the games he went in were all real quick games, and that's one of his strengths, his feet. I said to him, I was so happy that he could get into these games and get a feel for it, and he was exactly that. He was really appreciative of the opportunity. His time will come, and I told him, whether that's a month from now or whether that's near the end. I said last year we had all those injuries, especially with our D. I don't know when that moment will happen, but I'm glad, and this is what we're happy about, that you got this opportunity to be in here at this time of year. And then, I mean, We've got 8 veteran defensemen right now, so it's a tough situation. I don't want it to be him sitting around going in, going out. He's got to go play, and the more he plays, it's building his brand. And the next time he comes here, he'll have all of those 4 games experience behind him to use and to learn from, and that's what you hope. And that's the opportunity that we wanted to give him.